You to give me, I should say, your rundown, really, of these local votes. They could have big repercussions in Westminster, of course, in particular with the Prime Minister under fire. Any inkling of the way that either of these are going to go at the minute?
Well, they're two very different contests. The truth is the Labour Party should win Wakefield and should win it relatively comfortably. After all, in the local elections in the constituency at the beginning of May, Labour was 17 points ahead. The Conservative majority is only 7.5 points, so it only needs less than a 4% swing for it to go back to Labour. The current swing in the national polls is 9%, and typically in by-elections in the middle of a parliament, the swing from government to opposition is often well above what you're seeing currently in the national polls. So Wakefield, frankly, it will be surprising if Labour don't win it and don't win it quite comfortably. Actually, what I'm looking for is to see whether or not the Labour Party can exceed the 13% swing, which was the best swing that the party has previously managed to achieve in any by-election since 2010. That perhaps is quite a high bar, but that would certainly indicate a degree of progress by the party. Tiverton and Honiton, of course, is a very, very different place, very different contest. It's always been a Conservative constituency, although the Liberal Democrats, who are their principal challengers, weren't far behind back in 1997. But, of course, the Liberal Democrat vote since then had collapsed mightily in the southwest in 2015, 2017 and 2019. Still, we saw in North Shropshire that the Liberal Democrats can do very well, even in Leave voting constituencies, of which Tiverton and Honiton is one. The swing required of just over 20% is not necessarily beyond them, but it would certainly be quite a considerable achievement if they were to pull it off. And,
but how serious is it? How serious is it for Boris if he loses both of them? Realistically, you know, the Tories have been in power for a long time. It's natural for him to get a kick in at this point, isn't it?
The potential point about him losing both is will it illustrate that those people who are minded not to vote Conservative are now, some of them at least, quite keen to vote for whichever of the opposition parties is best able to defeat the Conservatives locally, i.e. to vote tactically against the Conservatives. That wasn't happening in 2019 or indeed in 2017, not least because many Labour voter had not forgiven the Democrats for their involvement in the 2010 to 2015 coalition. The local elections at the beginning of May suggested that there were signs that this tactical voting was in evidence. If the Labour vote collapses in Tiverton and Honiton and takes the Liberal Democrat over the line, while Labour meanwhile win Wakefield, where there virtually isn't any Liberal Democrat vote in the first place, it will at least illustrate the danger to the Conservatives if indeed voters have now reached the point where some of them at least just want to find whatever stick is available to them with which to beat Boris Johnson.